Main gaining is by far the fastest way that you'll get to your fitness goals. I've coached over 100 people now in fitness and weight loss, and main gaining is the fastest way of doing it. So I'm going to show you exactly what main gaining is and exactly what the first steps are to start main gaining if you're not currently in that position, and what is main gain and how do we keep on doing it forever to keep on making gains and keep on staying lean and keep on staying aesthetic. So let's get right anyways, boys. So maintaining is in effect recomping your body. So this is where we maintain our body fat percentage while also gaining muscle. Hence the name main gaining, right? Maintaining body fat, gaining muscle at the same time, simultaneously. So this is what I used to do when I used to do bulking and cutting. So I used to bulk up, I used to put on loads of muscle mass, and then eventually when your bulk comes to an end, because every bulk has to come to an end eventually, otherwise you'll die of obesity, right? So when my bulk did come to the end, I would have to go on a cut. And then because I wasn't happy at all with my body fat percentage, I'd cut very aggressively. And this is the type of body I used to get. Look, I kind of used to look like what most ugly women look like, right? You know, when they've got the little hips going, they've got a little bit of flubbiness on their chest instead of actual pectoral muscles like on this picture. And then this is me doing 5 years of main gaining. So I used to do the bulking, I used to do the cutting, and it's not as effective as the main gaining, and I'll explain why. So this is the first step for you. What do you want? And you want to get to that body fat percentage first while progressive overloading. So what I mean is let's just say your ideal body fat percentage is 12% body fat, and you want to get down to that body fat percentage. So do I bulk up to gain a load of muscle first, and then once I've got the muscle mass in my frame, I then cut down to 12% body fat? No. What you do is you slowly diet down to the weight that you want to get to. So if it's 12% body fat, you eat in a 500 calorie deficit until you get to 12% body fat. But in that time that you're doing that, you want to be still trying to progress in the gym. So I'll explain more about what I mean by that now. So progressive overloading, we want to be making sure that we're doing the same plan as what we did to build the muscle. So whatever you did to build the muscle, but whatever plan that was for you, it was clearly working because you gained some muscle, right? You need to stick to that plan while you're cutting down. So I'm talking about fatter than they want to be. If they want to be a lower body fat percentage, whatever you did to build the muscle is what you're going to have to do to keep the muscle. And believe it or not, you can actually simultaneously gain muscle while losing body fat. So you can imagine how fast you're going to get a transformation if you do that. Imagine every single time you gain muscle, you're losing body fat. But then on the side of that, you're also eating in a calorie deficit. So you're going to be losing even more fat, even faster. So let's just give you an example. Let's just say you're 50 kilos on the dot. I know you're probably a little bit heavier than that, but let's just say you're, by example, 50 kilos on the dot. So you stayed at 50 kilos for a whole year. So you ate at maintenance. You ate at maintenance for a whole 5 years, let's just say. And in that 5 years, you gained 5 kilos of muscle, but you still stayed at 50 kilos, but you gained 5 kilos of muscle. So what has to have came off your frame? Body fat. Body fat has came off your frame because you have kept the same weight, but while at that 50 kilos, you've gained muscle, all right? So you've gained muscle and you've stayed at the same body fat. Body fat would have had to have came off your frame. You gained that muscle, you stayed at the same weight, so body fat would have had to have came off your frame, right? Can we both agree on that? We can both agree on that, right? So imagine, you're not only going to be staying at the same weight, you're going to be slowly eating in a calorie deficit. So you're going to be losing body fat by definition, because if you eat in a deficit, you lose body fat, right? So you're losing body fat from the calorie deficit, but then at the same time, you're also gaining muscle. You can see how fast you can get a transformation from doing this. So if you're 20% body fat and you dieted down to 10% body fat while eating in a small deficit and gaining muscle, you can imagine how night and day your transformation will look. You can imagine in such a short amount of time, maybe 4 months time, you could go from 20% body fat, not as muscular, to 20% body fat with loads of muscle on your frame down to 10% body fat with muscle on your frame. Hopefully that makes sense. And it would literally take 4 months to do so. So the progression, like I just said, you want to stick to the same plan. Whatever you did to build the muscle is what you're going to have to do to keep the muscle. So we're now moving on to the point where we're just going to assume that you are the body fat percentage that you want right now. So we don't actually need to go any lower. We're at our ideal body fat percentage, all right? So it's the plan that you did to build the muscle. You train each body part 1 to 2 times per week. You train each body part once per week, you're still going to make gains. You're still going to make good gains. But if you did it twice per week, you'll do it twice as fast. If you were to do it 3 times a week, that's overtraining a little bit. That's something called junk volume, where each workout, you're going to be so knackered because you're training each body part 3 times a week, where every single week your lifts are getting lower and lower and lower. That's, by definition, that means you're losing muscle, which is the complete opposite of what we want. We want to be able to gain muscle while maintaining our body fat, because we've got down to our body fat percentage now. So you train once to twice per week, and you want to try and stick between 10 to 20 rep range. The reason why I said 10 to 20 is because your set wants to last approximately 40 seconds, right? So if you get somebody to film your set, does your set actually last 40 seconds? Because the magic number for hypertrophy is 40 seconds. So the reason why I put 10 to 20 reps is because when you do a set of, let's just say, by example, lateral raises, when you do a set of lateral raises, I hope you can see me, it does not take long to do a rep. It probably takes you 1 second on the way up, 1 second on the way down, which means that's 2 seconds per rep, right? 1 plus 1 is 2. So yeah, 1 rep on the way up and down is 2 seconds. So times that by 20, you've got 40 seconds, right? 2 times 20 is 40 seconds. So stuff like lateral raises, you probably want to do 20 reps. Stuff like bench press, for example. Let's just say you do bench press and it takes you 2 seconds on the way down, 1 second on the way up, which is good controlled reps. That's what you really want to be doing. If you do that, that means you're doing 2 seconds on the way down, 1 second on the way up. That's 3 seconds per rep. You times that by 13, you've got 39 seconds. So if you're doing bench press and stuff like that, you want to be trying to get 12 to 15 reps, somewhere around there. And stuff like leg press you 3 seconds on the way down, 2 seconds on the way up. So that's like 5 seconds per rep. So you divide that by 40 and you've got 8 reps. So maybe I should have put 8 to 20 reps, but it really does depend on how fast you do your reps. So my advice is to go up to the local meathead in the gym and go, "Can you record my set, please, mate?" And they'll just say yeah, because nobody's got a problem with recording your set. If they're having a rest time anyway, just get some random strangers to record your set. Have a look at how long it takes you to do. Get your girlfriend to do it. Get your gym partner to do it. Go to the local steroid head in the gym and ask him to do it. That's my advice. And then you'll understand whether your set is lasting about 40 seconds or not. Because all the studies show that 40 seconds is the magic number for hypertrophy. You want your set to last about 40 seconds. And once you're pressing each week, so let's just say on the leg press, you get to your maximum amount of reps. Let's just say you stop yourself going any higher than 15 reps. When you get to your 15 reps, you move up a weight and you do it in little baby steps. Do it in little incremental steps. Or let's just say you're working your way up to 15 reps and you're on 13 reps. Next week, you're going to do 14 reps. And then the week after that, you're going to do 15 reps. So basically, just make it harder for yourself each week, whether you go up a rep, whether you go up in weight, or whether you slow down your form to get it closer to about 40 seconds. I understand it's all very confusing for you. So if you are still confused about how you progress, I have got a call that you can just book. So you just book a call with me. If you want somebody that can just write out the whole plan for you, and then you just action on the plan, you just implement the plan, then just book a call with me below. Not only that, I'll sort out your nutrition so you don't have to think about your nutrition. You don't have to think about what weights to lift. You don't have to think about how heavy to lift. It's all just going to be done for you. You look at your phone, it's pretty idiot proof, and you just get on with the plan. I will make it pretty damn hard for you to fuck up on your fitness goals. So book a call with me below if you need any extra help, and I'll make it super, super easy for you. Okay, so once we need to keep on progressing in the gym, we also need to start implementing steady state cardio, because steady state cardio is by far the best cardio you can do to keep muscle on your frame. So what I mean by that is you want to avoid high intensity interval training or high impact sports. For example, what I do, mixed martial arts. Mixed martial arts is not good for keeping muscle on your frame, and neither is most sports really. Football training is not good. Basketball training isn't very good for holding on to muscle. There's a reason why you look at all the top athletes in football, basketball, a lot of sports apart from stuff like rugby, where more muscle on your frame is not conducive to your sports. And it's not because the chicken came before the egg or the egg came before the chicken. It's because this tracks muscle off your frame. It completely shreds it off your frame. Think about it like this. If you did a really high intensity interval training mixed martial arts class, are you going to be able to bench press the same? No. Are you going to be able to leg press the same? No. If you had went for a high impact run and you went for a half marathon run, you're not going to be able to leg press the same. You're not going to be able to lift the same weights on your shoulders. Everything is going to be a lot harder for you to do. And as we know, we need to keep on building muscle in order for us to keep that muscle on our frame, right? We need to keep on hitting the same numbers, or if not, beating the same numbers. And every time you do high intensity interval training or any type of high impact cardio, that's going to make lifting weights so much harder. So if you guys want to do this, I've also got on the second link in the description, my size and violence program, where I show you exactly how to balance bodybuilding with your sport. I personally do it for MMA, so it is tailored to MMA. But if you did football, if you do ballet, if you do horse jockeying, whatever you're into, it would still work. The same principles apply to any sport. So I've got a complete guide on how you would balance your sport with bodybuilding so you can look big and impressive, but then also be an athlete at the same time. And it's $7, boys. It's $7, and you can complete the course in less than an hour. It's not like a YouTube video where I'm trying to sell stuff to you. It's not like a YouTube video where I'm trying to hold the algorithm the whole time. It's literally just me in front of the camera showing you exactly what to do. So have a little think about it, boys. That's a better option for the people that can't afford my one-to-one coaching. So have a little think about it. My recommendation is you want to do incline treadmill, the stepper, or anything that isn't too hard. Anything where if I was having a phone call with you on the phone right now, you shouldn't be going, that means you're not doing steady state cardio. That means you're doing more zone 3, zone 4 type of cardio. So if you couldn't have a conversation with Shay on the phone, then that means you're going too hard. That means you're going to start interfering with your weight training. So I should be doing steady state cardio like incline treadmill, the stepper, just flat walking outside 3 to 7 days a week. And you want to try and do this 30 to 60 minutes. I would suggest going for the incline treadmill over all of them, because if you walk on a 15% incline treadmill compared to a flat, you're burning double the calories by walking on a 15% incline. So if you walked at the same speed, say if you did 3.5, I don't know if it's on kilometers per hour or miles per hour, but you know, when you're on the treadmill and it says 3.5, if you did that on a 15% incline, you're literally burning double the calories as if you were just walking on the flat. So if you did incline, you only need to do 30 minutes. If you were to do flat walking, you'd have to do 60 minutes. So to save yourself the time, I would recommend walking on a 15% incline at a pace that you can handle. If you couldn't have a conversation with me on the phone without huffing and puffing, then maybe not 3.5 speed, maybe 3.0 or 3.2, whatever you can handle. Okay, so meal frequency. This is very important, guys. You want to be having high protein, low calorie meals, and preferably you want to try and have 3 to 5 meals a day. So I personally only eat 3 meals a day, and that's because I'm super busy. But if I was trying to get in the best shape possible, I would have 5 meals a day. I'm no longer trying to get in the best shape possible. I more eat for productivity and be able to work. I can't concentrate the same if I have 5 meals a day. Imagine me trying to make a YouTube video if I had loads of food in my stomach. I wouldn't be the same person. So if I'm trying to get in the best shape possible, which I'm not trying to do right now, I would eat 5 meals a day. And what type of food should you be eating? So What foods would you binge on normally? Would it be burgers? Would it be pizzas? Would it be ice cream? Would it be French fries? Whatever. There is a food on YouTube where you can go on YouTube and you can type in high calorie, high protein, low calorie pizza recipe. Or you can type in high protein, low calorie ice cream recipe, high protein, low calorie burger recipe, high protein, low calorie pulled pork sandwich recipe. There is a recipe on YouTube for any type of food that you enjoy, right? And if you can't be bothered to do this and you can't be bothered to watch the YouTube videos, go onto my Instagram, ShayHammond_. I'll put the link in the description. I'll put it in the third link in the description, and send me the word book, and I'll send you my cookbook for free. All I want is your email address, and then you'll have a whole book full of 50 plus recipes of exactly what type of foods I would binge on, and I've made a high protein, low calorie version of it. So high protein, low calorie ice cream, high protein, low calorie pizza, high protein, low calorie burgers. I've done all of them, so you don't have to think about it. It's a PDF on your phone. You can just go through it and you've got all the recipes there. If you followed this book for 3 out of the 4 meals of the day, you will get significantly leaner because it's so hard to overeat on these recipes. All of the recipes are going to be massive portions for a small amount of calories, but they've also got loads of protein in, so it keeps you full for a long amount of time. That's why I say for you guys to have high protein, low calorie recipes. Anyways, my tip is to try and be a robot as best you can. Try and have the same meals at the same time every single day, because then that completely eliminates decision fatigue. Every time you have to make a decision, that's when you fuck up on your diet. So just exposed that I use my iPhone as my camera there. Anyways, my advice is to try and eat the same meals at the same time every day, because it gets rid of that decision fatigue. When you have to make decisions, that's when you fuck up. If you knew that at 11 o'clock you have a yogurt bowl, at 2 p.m. you have eggs and bacon, and then at 3 p.m., I'm just saying examples here, you had French toast. It would get to 3 p.m. and you'd be like, okay, French toast time. Notice how I didn't have to make a decision there, all right? The less decisions you make, the more better at dieting you get. I want you guys to remember that. The less decisions you make, the better at dieting you get. When it's lunchtime and you don't know what to eat, that's when you fuck up. That's when you go to McDonald's. That's when you go to Subway. So eat the same foods every day and eat the same time every day. Of course, when you've got special occasions, you can't do that. But when you can, that's what you should be doing. And of course, try and eat at maintenance. And when you're working out your maintenance, there's no true way of actually finding out your maintenance. The only way you can truly do it is by weighing yourself every single day. At the end of the week, you take your median weight, and then you do the exact same thing the week after. Weigh yourself every single day. You keep everything the same. You eat the same meals at the same time, and you go to bed at the same sort of time every night and everything. And then you look at your median weight. Has it gone up from week 1 to week 2? Has it gone down from week 1 to week 2? Or has it stayed the same? If it stays the same, that's how you know you've been eating at maintenance. If it goes down, that means you're eating in a calorie deficit. If it goes up, you know you're in a calorie surplus. You can try and go on Google and you can try and look at those calorie calculators, but they're just not very accurate. They're just guessing. The only way you can actually do it is by finding out whether you lost weight from week 1 to week 2, or whether you gained weight, or whether you stayed at the same weight. Okay, so some crucial then, boys. You want to do weights before cardio. If we're trying to make sure that we're keeping as much muscle on our frame, we need to prioritize weight training. So that means if you go to the gym and you do both in the same session, do the weights training first and then do the cardio. Maybe you can do 10 minutes on the incline treadmill to get yourself sweaty or whatever. If you like to warm up first, I would recommend you do warm up for 10 minutes, but don't do 60 minutes of cardio and then do your weight training. You're just not going to have the same session. Maybe do 10 minutes of your incline treadmill at the beginning, get yourself sweaty a little bit, then do your weight training, and then do your last 50 minutes, 20 minutes, however much time you've got left. And sleep as well, boys. The more sleep, the less cortisol you have. The less cortisol you have, that means the less hungry you're going to be, because there's a direct correlation between how stressed out you are and your ghrelin hormone. So cortisol and ghrelin, which is your hunger hormone, that means they've got a direct correlation with each other. So if you're really stressed out, that's when you binge. That's when you binge on food. So if you get more sleep, you'll binge less. And then also you'll be able to feel more recovered. And then when you go to the gym, you're going to feel better and you're going to be more likely to keep on progressing the gym. And as a result, you're going to keep on gaining muscle. Creatine is really good because when you're cutting down, especially if you're not at the body fat percentage that you want to be at, creatine helps you lift more and it helps you lift harder. So it's not going to double your weight. So if you were bench pressing 100 kilos, it's not going to make you bench 150 kilos. It's not going to make you bench 200 kilos. But let's just say you were doing 100 kilos and you could only get 10 reps and you were stuck on 10 reps for 3 weeks. If you started taking creatine, you'd probably get 11 reps. And then next week you get 12 reps. And then next week you get 13 reps. So what it does is it basically sucks water into your muscles, which means you have more muscle mass when you first start taking it. So if you took creatine, in a few days, you'd notice that your muscles just look bigger. And it's not because you've gained muscle, that's because water has been absorbed into your muscles. So you're going to look bigger instantly when you take it. Because your muscles are going to be bigger, you're going to be able to lift more. And that means you're going to be able to progress more all the time. Creatine just helps you progress in the gym. It's not like steroids. It's not going to double your weight in the gym, but it does help. And then we've got caffeine. So caffeine is amazing. It helps you train harder for longer in the weight room and in cardio. And it's also one of the best appetite suppressants there is. I've just had a coffee, right? I do not eat until 12 p.m. I live off caffeine until 12 p.m. So I get up at 4:30 and then I eat my first meal at 12 p.m. That's like 6 hours of me not being able to eat. In that time, I'll go to the gym. In that time, I'll do my mixed martial arts, and then I'll also do one-to-ones. So caffeine can keep me going, and that's because it's one of the most potent appetite suppressants there is. And it helps you train harder for longer on an empty stomach. So that's my recommendation. It massively helps you stay lean, and it massively helps you train harder, which means you're going to be able to lift more muscle, lift more weights, get more muscle. And then we've also carbonated drinks here. So when you're hungry in between your meals, this is how you go from meal 1 to meal 2. Carbonated drinks, there's something about them that gives your stomach the illusion that you've actually eaten some food. There's something about the bubbles. You know what I mean? When you have a Diet Coke, when you have sparkling water, the carbonation makes you feel artificially more full. So this really helps with getting from one meal to the next meal. It's really good for curbing your appetite. And we've got that consistency wins, boys. So just remember that we need to consistently, progressively overload in the gym. We need to be consistently eating our calories, and we need to be consistent throughout the whole process. This is main gaining in a nutshell. We just keep on gaining muscle, and we keep on staying at the same body fat percentage. And then over time, with consistency, your body will look completely different. If you look at me at 65 kilos 5 years ago, I was about 20% body fat. I was quite chunky, in my opinion. And then now, I'm 72 kilos and I'm 10% body fat. And a lot of that is to do with the fact I've gained loads of muscle. So the guy that consistently gains muscle over a long amount of time will always win against a guy that turns up once a week and just smashes out the gym once per week. Trust me. So if you guys are still confused on exactly how to do this main gaining stuff, book a call with me below. If you don't want to book a call with me below and you don't have the money for it, then just join my program of Size and Violence. I'll put all the links in the description, and that's it, boys. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Hopefully you learned something, and hopefully you guys get to your fitness goals really quickly. See you on the next one.